Juju Smith-Schuster, their wide receiver, to say, I think we just have to stay true to our run game. Sometimes we love to throw the ball, and I don't mind it. It's going to be a very interesting year to see how our run game plays out. Najee Harris is a huge commitment for our offense. I'm just curious to see how this pans out, but more heavy on the run game and moving players around. So now I've heard everything. A wide receiver is saying we need to run the ball more. I never thought I would hear that. But Domonique, let me come to you first on this thought. If one were to make the statement, just looking at this team, looking at where they were and what they've done, that right now of all the teams in that division, the one whose future looks the bleakest is the one in Pittsburgh, and that future could be coming quickly, would that person saying that be right?
I think it's hard to argue against that. The only optimistic part about that team is the fact that they're never bad and that they have Mike Tomlin and that Kevin Colbert's done a good job. It's just trust in their infrastructure and trust in the fact that they seem to always figure it out. But you can't really look at the roster and listen to the things that are being said and think that this team is somehow going to all of a sudden learn how to run the football again. They're going to have to run the ball, but it's going to have to be a pass-focused offense, and it's going to have to be based on deep shots that get people out of the box to then allow you to run. Deep shots to Claypool and that sort of stuff. That was the problem with the offense last year, was they couldn't run the ball. They also couldn't attack deep down the field because they couldn't protect, and Ben Roethlisberger is getting late in his career, and he can't take the hits that he once did. So I'm not sure how this team gets any better. They're going to be reliant on that defense again this season because there are no players left for them to bolster that offensive line. The draft has passed, and free agency is looking pretty dry. So maybe they're going to coach these guys up, but if they can't improve that offensive line, I don't think they get much better offensively.
And the defense is really good. And RC, you know him better than anybody, but there's a lot of in Tomlin we trust going on here, because if it wasn't for him, I think most people would be looking at them as one of the worst teams in the league.
No, absolutely. But we've seen Mike Tomlin get through many storms, though. The same way I'm getting through a storm here, Greeny. There's lightning, there's thunder, the rain is smashing against the window, but we soldier on. And that's the exact same thing that we do in Pittsburgh. And when you look at Mike Tomlin and this team never being below 500, always finding a way to stay competitive, I think this is going to have to be one of his best years of coaching, because the focus will be on him. The focus will be that Kevin Colbert didn't move on from Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't necessarily go out and get his replacement. You went with Najee Harris in the first round instead of going to get an offensive lineman, which you didn't do until your third pick. And now you have Matt Canada, who runs sideways. And I know this because they ran him sideways out of Baton Rouge because it was so much jet sweep. It was so much let's put someone, a running back at the slot receiver, and allow him to come behind the line of scrimmage and run reverse. Those things aren't going to work in the NFL. You have to find a way to give that illusion, but become a downhill, physical running team that will allow you to protect Ben Roethlisberger and not throw the football 2 yards past the line of scrimmage and ask Johnson, ask Smith-Schuster, ask Claypool to make plays. You know, you said earlier that their future would be the bleakest. The only reason their future isn't the bleakest is because the Cincinnati Bengals went with who I think is going to be a star receiver in Jamar Chase instead of Penei Sewell. What makes Cincinnati Bengals a little bleaker is that Joe Burrow might not be upright in the future in order to become the star he was drafted to be.
And that's not the usual standard by which we're accustomed to judging the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I get what you're saying, and I can't disagree with it. Graziano, what's your sense?
Well, look, I mean, Juju's talking about running the ball more. Last year, you mentioned they couldn't pass block. The line couldn't run block either. So last year's Steelers became, a conversation about what can we do. Ben Roethlisberger's time to throw was 2.3 seconds, lowest in the league. So all they thought they had was Roethlisberger get rid of the ball quickly, and then we'll figure it out. So they have to put that offensive line back together. I understand watching those Najee Harris highlights from a couple minutes ago why you would think he can do it all, but he can't. He's not going to be able to snap the ball to Roethlisberger and block it. They need somebody to replace Marquise Pouncey and build out that offensive line.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.